These are out of date.
So when you get all this done here, are you eventually, is he actually gonna hook up the projector?
Mhm.
Cause I painted that wall, you know.
It's like, did not do that for
and I
nothing. Was it
wanted
all
to
in
use
vain?
it.
Yeah, he said. There could be anyone on
Yeah, I don't think so.
this here. And, oh, Marissa Skaggs is.
Oh, hey, Marissa.
No, you just have to make certain findings, right, cover your head. You have to live. You have to live. Here's this out. Yes. Because in theory, if you're not a taxpayer of that municipality, you don't have to stay. Almost an obstacle hurdle for a smaller place. Sure. Now, if it's Madison County, you have to go like that. Right. Could be another. Oh.
That's great.
You know, James is coming.
I have not heard that he couldn't come.
Yeah.
I don't see him on. Marissa Skaggs has joined, but he's not. Yeah, so we could, okay, yeah.
Is Marissa still the only one online?
Yeah, he's not on. So,
I'll call to order the July 19th, 2022 Pendleton Board of Zoning Appeals meeting. We'll do a roll call starting to my left. Kyle Corn,
Jenny Sisson.
Jerry Burmeister.
and no board members online.
Correct.
All
No.
right, we have quorum with 4 or 5 present. The minutes are on your drive. I understand motion to approve this. Okay, motion, we have a second. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, none opposed, the minutes are approved. On to old business, condemnation hearing for 116 to 120 West State.
First of all, thank you very much for being flexible tonight. We do ask that if you can speak up a little bit louder, we've got to rely on the laptop for recording. So we'll capture that as best as possible, but thank you very much. I appreciate everyone going with the flow. As far as the progress report hearing for the Steve Busey building at 116 to 120 West State Street, we wanted to give you first an update since our last meeting. We had the June meeting, and since then, the RC engineers team with Fritz as leader, they went in July the 6th, and they were able to complete structural inspection and assessment. So right now, they're just working diligently on putting all that together. So they're going to put all their findings together along with drawings in detail and outline of what all structural remedies need to take place, and then how to go about doing so. And that report, we expect to get that sometime next week. But in the meantime, Mr. Busey, he's here tonight. He's been very cooperative with the town, allowing access to the building for inspection and review. And he's also been working hard to continue the seal of the building. He's been focusing on recently more of the windows and the roof. So we believe by the August meeting, those should be able to be all finalized. So as our staff recommendation, if I'll go ahead and kind of give you an idea of kind of where we're at and where we think will be best next steps on this. If you have any questions for Mr. Busey and myself, I'll give you the opportunity as well. And at the next meeting, which is 16th of August, what we had in mind is that once we receive that report, when we get that, we'd like to disperse that to you all for review. That way you would have a good amount of weeks to be able to kind of go through that, familiarize yourself with that, and we also would do the same for Mr. Busey and let him have a chance to take a look at that. And when we come back, we would like to start working on a game plan, an action plan of step by step, what steps need to be taken to remedy those structural concerns, but also put that on a timeline that's reasonable. And then in the meantime, we recommend just going ahead and approving another 30-day extension on finalizing that seal. That's all that we have at this time. But if you have any questions for me or Mr. Busey, more than
Questions, staff? All right, so we're looking to extend an additional 30 days. Steve, do you want to give any input before we make that motion?
I think I heard her say that the meeting is recorded.
Correct.
Has the previous meetings also been recorded?
That's correct.
Well,
Yes.
how come none of that stuff is in the minutes when I go to the website and read through what happened? Because everything Scott said in that doorway the last time, none of it's in there.
It's usually just our minutes are a summary of the kind of the main points. The discussion does not usually go into those meeting minutes. But if you'd like, we can get copies of those recordings for you if you'd like. There's okay.
Okay, as I forget which one of you I spoke to, but about putting some wood up above the windows.
Mhm.
Is that you?
Yeah.
And you okay?
Mhm.
That's on the back of the building. So why does the meetings keep saying that I'm gonna tear it down? Because I'm not.
I don't know what part of the meeting is saying you're gonna tear it down.
Read the meeting.
We
Read the
discussed
minutes.
last time that was an option.
Right, it was an
It was up to
option, but
you.
it was
Well,
up to
I've never
you.
agreed to do that.
Right, so we're not,
So why is the engineer not supposed to look at the back of the building if I'm not tearing it down?
right, so he did go through the back of the building when he
He
came.
did, but he said he wasn't supposed to.
Well, he's gonna go ahead and free of charge give us, or give you, plans to remediate the structural issues in the back of the building.
Okay, so he did it on his own,
Mhm.
and now that he did it on his own, you guys are gonna go along with it, when I never said I was tearing it down in the first place.
Yeah, no,
Well-
like they said, it's an option. That's your decision to make. He
I
can
made
give
that
you,
decision months ago, I'm not tearing it down.
Right, so the thing was, is that we were gonna have to pay additional funds for RC to do structural remediation drawings for the back of the building, and we were not willing to do that. That was gonna have to be on you if you didn't want to tear them down. But the structural engineer decided to throw those in free of charge.
Is Scott or Brady the one gonna be here tonight?
No.
Why did they tell me in private with no witnesses that if I agree to tear down the back of the building, they'll open the front back up?
They didn't say that,
Yes, they did.
no.
But we can't comment on what someone else might have said. in the meeting that was-
That's not the case.
I mean,
Just because the back parts of the building would be gone, that doesn't mean the structural issues and the other parts of it are no longer there.
I don't intend to tear that down.
That's fine.
Yeah, the issue at hand is a 30-day extension of the exterior sealing of the building, and then once we receive the RC report, that will be the next step on, what steps are required to repair the building.
I'm glad you
Ultimately,
use the word repair because that's what it is. It's repairs. And obviously, it's not in any danger of immediate collapse because it's been 90 days and it hasn't collapsed.
we're gonna wait on the professional opinion of the engineer
That's his opinion of what repairs need done.
to make the
So I
building
still don't
habitable.
understand why people aren't allowed in the front of it.
That
Why
was-
am I allowed in there?
It's an
It's
issue
gonna
with,
collapse.
it's an
Why
issue
am
with
I
the
allowed?
general public.
Oh, the public, it's okay if I die, but not the public?
It's not
Come on now.
okay, but that's not the issue at hand. The town's here to protect the public from injury. And we don't, the certificate of occupancy is contingent on the fire department, the building department, and the professional engineer giving the okay. We haven't seen that in writing. And so we're not gonna make a decision about issuing a certificate of occupancy until those three things are addressed. So tonight, we're gonna vote on extending the 30-day window to
I agree
continue to
with
work.
that.
And then next month, when we get the report back, that's the next steps.
And I won't get that report from the engineer for at least another week. You really expect me to get all that stuff done?
Well, no, that's not the expectation.
Well,
I mean, the
how long
ultimate
are we gonna
deadline,
keep the public out when the building is not collapsing?
we'll have to wait on the report. If we get the report and can make a decision on those three items, then we'll address that at the August meeting. And as far as the structural repairs, the initial deadline was October. But
That could very
we'll
easily
review
be
that
extended.
and potentially extend that if that's warranted, so.
Well, just so you know, Scott told me to quit working on it. He's told me that 2 or 3 times. It's been private.
Continue to seal the building and make, weather.
He told me to
repairs.
quit working. Yeah,
His concern, if I remember from the last meeting, was that repairs were not be satisfactory based on the structure. So tonight, we'll entertain a motion to extend the 30-day window for
can I
weatherproofing.
ask the attorney another
Yeah,
question?
go ahead.
I think I asked you once, a couple of meetings back, is it possible to open the front and only have the back in danger of condemnation or whatever?
It's up to the findings of this board. I mean, whatever this board determines is what's possible.
So in other words, but the board does whatever Scott tells them to do.
The board can use whatever evidence it wants in arriving at its decision. If it believes what Mr. Reski provides, or what engineers, or what Hannah or Denise say, that's their prerogative. They're hearing from you today. They can hear from your experts as well. But it's up to these 5 people, based on what evidence is before them, to make the decision.
Okay, well, I'd like to point out that every single time Scott does 99% of the talking and Brett just stands there and goes along with whatever Scott says. And Scott is not the building inspector. Brett is, am I correct?
Brett is the building inspector.
But Scott, I realize Scott's his boss, but Scott has always done all the talking.
The matter
He
at
acts like
hand-
he's the building inspector.
The matter at hand is we're waiting on the PE report. That's gonna guide us. That also clears the town from liability. If we have one major storm that comes through and if that collapses, we have to ensure that our public safety. And so that's why we're waiting for the PE report from the structural engineer to give us the clear. And as far as you being in a building that you own, that's on you as far as safety. But as far as if it collapses and hurts the general public, it's on the town. So that's why we're waiting on our report to review. And that's why we are putting a motion to extend those 30 days.
Well, am I correct that if the town had not ever looked at it in the first place, they wouldn't have been liable? Any more than they're liable for his building or any other
Public
building?
safety, we are always liable, which is why we are making sure that buildings are safe.
I don't have a problem with it being safe, but I feel like it is, obviously. Like I said in the past, my kids, my grandkids, my grandchildren go in there. We have no fear of that building collapsing around us. None.
Well, there are pictures and previous report and enough evidence that as a board here, we decided that there is a safety concern, which is why we wanted to move forward with professional engineering report, which will be done before the next meeting,
Yeah, it'll
Probably
be done
next
by
week.
next week.
next week.
Yeah.
And that will kind of guide then the next step, which is, I feel like we're being pretty fair in all these extensions. We didn't condemn it immediately as far as with no conditions and no ability to make repairs, correct? We've been working and extending this. I don't know what happens outside of this board. That's what we talk about in here is what I look at. That's our.
I agree based on what information that you folks have been given, that you're being completely fair. I just don't think you're getting the right information.
And that's why we wanted a professional engineer, an external consultant that also has the credentials to do so and give us that report.
That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
All right, any other input from staff or the public?
Well, I think I'll speak up and say that I have noticed Steve doing some things to the building. I think he's trying to make some repairs. I hope you understand, Steve, as us as a board, we have to wait and look at that report, read the report and see, and then we'll go from there. That'll be our next step.
But isn't it true if you had not looked at it in the first place that you wouldn't have been concerned about the town's liability any more about my building as they are about your building?
Well, we did look at a 200-page report.
Huh?
We did look at a report that,
You mean the one from
Several
2.5
years
years
back, yeah.
ago where
Yeah.
the engineer said it was
Right.
okay and it was safe?
and I didn't see that it was okay.
Yeah, it says it right on the front page.
I didn't see that it was okay.
It says it right on the front page.
My concern is the safety of the public.
I understand that, Jerry, I really do. I'm concerned, I don't want nobody getting hurt, but at the same time, it's not gonna collapse any more than any other building.
Like I just mentioned to you, I mean, we're waiting on a report. We're all gonna
Understand.
study that report and go from there.
I understand.
All right, any other discussion? All right, if there's none, I will entertain a motion to approve an additional 30 days to finalize sealing efforts.
I'll make a motion to extend 30 days.
All right, second. Motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, new business, D 07-19-2023-01. Variance from development standards for requesting less than minimum road frontage.
Tonight, we have Alden. He is here on behalf of Kathy Vanis. She was not able to attend tonight, but she is the applicant. She represents the Tractor Supply Company on this variance request. And the property that is at hand that we have before us tonight, there is a zoning kind of a map there, image kind of outlines the parcel that we're speaking of. The official address is 320 Enterprise Drive. That's the address of Tractor Supply that's continued on to the same parcel. But the highlighted yellow area is the area that actually has a separate address at 753 Pioneer Trace. So that's where it's located. It's there at the southeast part of the I-69 corridor. And it is a 15.72 acre parcel in which it sits just right east, adjacent to the property there, Tractor Supply. The applicant is asking for a variance for the heavy industrial zoning district, which is for this particular property. They're asking for a deviation of the road frontage standard. The UDO requires the road frontage to be a minimum of 250 feet across. But how they would like to parcel this off in the future, if this variance is approved, would only be 237.98. So it's lacking about 12 feet of that requirement. And so they are here tonight. I'll give a little bit of a background of kind of what they're asking and kind of what their intentions are if this is approved. And then I'd like to turn it over to Howden if you have any questions, for him, or if you'd like to make any additional comments. He is the land surveyor on this project. But the reasoning behind this request is that the current tenant, which is Premier Transportation Service, they specialize in transportation of retail, customer, kind of non-routine route transportation, as well as contract services. They are already in existence. They are set up there already. They've been there for a long time. They've got a building, they've got a parking lot, they're already fenced off, an office space, and different structures on the property. And they would like to purchase that from Tractor Supply. So they would like to, as long as it's variance, it's the only setback or requirement that would not be met in the HI district. And their use would remain the same, their business operations would also remain the same, and then Tractor Supply, they have intentions to retain ownership of the remaining 11.5 acres, which that's there highlighted in the blue. It's open land space there to the west of that yellow highlighted parcel. And if it is approved and divided, the zoning district, the land use would all remain the same. They also would maintain that existing building setback. Those are all met at all sides perimeter of that 4.31 acres. And they also are offering, the applicants offering a mitigation provision of industrial impacts by providing that storm sewer easement. And there is also a land survey provided by Ashton Land Surveyors there. Gives a little bit more details, but it outlines a little bit where those easements lie. Also to the east of this parcel is the town of Pendleton. There's a gas easement, utility easement. But we would like to turn it over to Howden. If you have any more comments or anything, do you have any questions for me at this time? And then we can give our comments after
Howland Ashton, surveyor, and I'm at 325 West Washington Street in Muncie. But we represent these folks that want to make this sale. Now, one of the reasons, very well presented, thank you.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons that they want to shorten it, we did measure 30 feet off of the existing building, which is the side building line requirement. But there is a part of the storm drainage system, and as I understand it, there's a management system out there. At least I see that in some of these deeds. So rather than do any filling on a storm sewer, there's enough space if we go, it's actually 238 feet. Request is for variance of 12 feet. If we went the additional 12 feet, it would be difficult. There's not enough space to enter from Enterprise Drive back onto the remainder of that property without doing some filling on that drain. And I'm fairly sure there's been some serious calculation into retention and so forth that's required for this development. So the owner wants to be able to put a driveway between the property line and the drain. I think that pretty much sums up anything that I know.
So by doing the 12 feet, that will allow you enough room to do a drive?
Yes, that's the purpose of it.
So so you went 238 feet over, because beyond that, the topography slopes off, is that?
No, you have about another 20 feet in there, something like that.
Before, and
Yeah.
that would give the
Sure.
remainder parcel room to access.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. That makes sense. So, any board discussion?
I'm just thinking very long term, if we're not to be in there at one point, does that affect anything? And honestly,
Variance
think
runs
of
with the
anything.
land.
It does run with
Mhm.
And it's so close, it meets topography,
yeah,
I don't think
I'm
it
just
creates a-
thinking of all worst
Mhm.
case.
Yeah,
scenarios.
for sure.
I don't see any, I don't know, from an engineering standpoint, to do with some of the.
So it's set 30, it's the 30-foot setback is the building requirement for HI.
Correct, yes, and that's
Tell
met, and
that
then
and
the
allow
additional
the access.
20, yes.
So I mean, I think we should consider the criteria on the slide, the bullet points there. Not incurious to public health, safety laws, that list there, so. Don't know if we need to, we can just enter in the findings of fact provided on the application.
that, or
We agree with that.
staff is prepared to propose finding the fact that's quite good.
It's-
Is it in the
And-
G drive?
Yes, and if you determine to add conditions on that, we can do that and get it back to you. But yes.
When they fill out the application, what they are presenting, and change. Sure, if we agree with that.
When the driver is really the unique topography of the property, is what's driving it, it sounds like, or that.
The easement.
stormwater
the
management, all
easement,
that is
yeah.
located.
So that's what I was trying to think of any worst scenarios.
So any conditions you think? I don't see
I don't
anything.
either. I don't see anything.
Well, I guess that's the case. I'll entertain a motion to approve the reduction of 12 feet. And we'll adopt the staff's finding of fact as outlined in the presentation.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, just for the record, as silly as it seems, this is only something a lawyer can come up with, but affirmatively ask if there are any public comment
Okay,
on the.
okay. All right.
I don't think she's gonna jump up here. and go after me.
Before we entertain the motion, I'll ask that if there's anybody online who just raise their hand, or if there's anybody in person.
Double check.
That being said, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the staff's finding of fact.
Make a motion to approve. Should I say B0719 2022-01 PSU?
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
And second.
All right, we have a second. All those in favor, say aye. Opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, board.
Thank
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Thank you very much.
For your help.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for coming out tonight.
That's it.
Yep.
All right,
That's it.
meeting adjourned.
Okay.
They might have the whole house.
By the time-
Oh,
Swinging
they're